Daniel's going to be sharing what's going on with him in his life right now, and I'm going to go pretty deep into my own life. Over the last 5 months, I've been struggling. I'm going to share those details with you, and I think we get to see some light at the end of the tunnel with all of that. We're going to get into some comments and messages from viewers from Instagram and YouTube. Let's get into this. So, what's up, Daniel?
Well, today we're starting things off with a Stone IPA.
Uh-huh.
And I'll tell you what, I'm feeling a lot better now after having a couple, 2 tree.
Yeah, me too.
Last night was a rough one, was up until 2 o'clock in the morning with my landmate, and I don't even know how much wine I drank. It was just ridiculous. Woke up this morning feeling pretty unnerved, pretty staticky.
They have a term for that.
What's that?
Hangover.
This is worse than a hangover. This was like, definitely got the shakes in the morning.
Do you ever feel dread?
I did.
Impending doom?
Yeah, this morning I kind of did. I was just like, this is bad. This is fucking bad. Like, my motor skills aren't that great. It's kind of getting to that point right now where my thinking is affected. My motor skills are affected.
I hear from my wife Tracy at work that your work skills are affected too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I haven't heard much about that.
Yeah, she's sitting off camera right over here.
I did not say that.
You did.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
No, she did say it. I didn't know my wife was a liar.
No,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because my short-term memory these days is kind of blown.
So you forget tickets and orders and...
No, that hasn't been affected so much. That's always kind of been a thing, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that it would be affecting. But I can still hustle. I can still go. But like on our last episode, we talked about how we're functional alcoholics and we still have jobs and things like this. But now it actually is starting to affect not only my own business, but my performance at work and
Yeah.
Right, the ability to be able to show up.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about people like that. Typically, from what I've seen, they're like in their 50s when all that shit starts happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked into it, and I was starting to show some symptoms of alcoholic myopathy. Did I talk about that?
You did.
Yeah, see, my short-term memory is fucked.
Sorry.
No, it's the case in point,
Yeah.
Case in point. And I'm not worried about it. I know that it's reversible. But these are some of the things that have been kind of like weighing heavily on me recently. Like what we talked about last time, the relationship stuff, that's kind of like largely lifted because of my like meditation practice. That's kind of been taken care of. So I don't have a lot of stressors right now. Mostly it's like, okay, let's wrap this up, whole like drinking thing. And
I don't want to derail your thinking, but are you looking forward to that as this show is providing for us like a pathway to recovery?
I am. I feel a little bit more inspired, to really address it. I'm thinking that I'm hoping that by the end of this week, I can taper it off and be done with it.
Yeah, I do have comments to get into later, but one of them does sort of ask us, like, when are you guys going to get sober? So people are wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get sober as soon as it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
So what's up, David? What's up with you?
Oh, man. Well, to be perfectly frank with you, I mean, life is good. I'm grateful to be alive. And there's certainly goodness to talk about. But just to be like perfectly honest and transparent and clear with you, like, things like this is like one of the worst times of my life. Like, I remember in 2014 when I was in Philadelphia, miracles came through. I need a miracle now. I feel just like I was really bad then, and I'm really bad now. Like I question my sanity sometimes, and
Me too.
yeah, you question my sanity?
Yeah.
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 No, man. Sometimes I feel like I'm just like on the verge of like losing it. There's just so much, and I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but it's my trueness that I could just share.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it always comes down to finances for me. And this is like what's up for me. This is like what's been going on for like the last 5 months, what's up is, and I won't bore you with too many details, but really it's.
You already have.
Shit, man.
You're just not going to bore them with the details.
Yeah, right. For the last 5 months, I've been looking for work. I'm a freelancer. I work remotely for clients online, doing photography, videography, building websites, graphic design, managing social media profiles, and marketing in general. And as a freelancer, it can come and go in waves. Like sometimes you got clients and money, and sometimes, like right now, I bottomed out. I got nothing. I've kept track of how many cold emails and pitches I've made to businesses all over Arizona. It's almost 600 companies I've contacted in the last 5 months, and basically zero have like responded with anything. There's been some maybes, but by and large it's no responses or no's, and I'm exhausted. It's very like, what is the word, deflating, discouraging. After it's a full-time job marketing myself and pitching and fishing for work. Imagine if you were at a lake fishing and you threw it in 600 times and you got basically zero fish. So I feel like I want to give up, So my credit cards are maxed out. Behind on bills. My wife Tracy is, I don't know how to say my wife Tracy, I can just say Tracy. Everybody knows Tracy. She's paying for stuff now. And so if I consider myself a man, it's very archetypal for a man to like want to provide and stuff. And so I can't provide. So the burden of provision is on her. And so that is hard for me. And I am like trying my hardest, and it's just like not working. So it's like, that's really frustrating. Okay, I belabored that point. And then for me personally, since I work from home, I'm here, and then like there's this neighbor dog that is barking like almost every day, just hardcore. I posted a story of it on our Instagram.
Saw it.
Yeah, pretty loud, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's this dog that's like big and throaty, and just it echoes off the hills, and it just goes off. I've screamed my head off, and my screams echo off the hills here. I go, shut the fuck up. And I hate doing it because it scares the kitties. And it makes me feel stupid because it is stupid. But I'm like, that's where I'm at. And I've called the sheriff multiple times, met the sheriff. He came out here once and checked it out. Said he left a note on their door, but nothing's happened. So and I'm very sensitive to sound. As a musician, I train my ear to like notice every little thing. So that dog barking is like, somebody's got a bullhorn right up to my ear, and I'm trying to be productive, and my productivity is just tanked. Alcohol doesn't help during the daytime. It helps during the nighttime.
Yeah.
So the dog barking, the finances, looking for work, it's all discouraging. And there's some other things too, but what's up for me, I just really want to share, like, it's been like a suffering for me, and it's a time of struggle for sure. And then it's just like this dim, at this point, faith that some miracle is just around the corner, because miracles have happened to me in my life before, and they're amazing stories to share, but it's like I need one. It's like, what the fuck? And the economy's tanking, like nationally and stuff, and so maybe that's at play. I don't know. I don't have any answers. All I have is like frustrations.
Right.
I just want to be happy again, really. Like, I haven't been happy.
Right.
It sucks.
Don't take it personally, Tracy.
Well, Tracy's off camera. She's discouraged. she's like, we have a baby on the way, and we do. But it's like, yeah, I want there to be some like brightness.
Some relief,
Yeah.
a respite for
Yeah.
sure. And one way to do that, is to get like fairly sauced at night because you get like a little glimmer of that.
Yeah, it is a reprieve. And there's been times over the last 5 months where I've had spells of sobriety, whether it's 3 days, 1 month. I was sober for like a month, But even then, like even when I was sober, it was almost worse.
Oh yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, I don't recommend sobriety for the drunk.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what's up for me. Just like I keep hustling, trying to be productive, and yes, I do have a love for Tracy and the baby on the way for sure. But an archetype that is like built into me is I like to have a passion project. I like to have something like to do, right? I think that's pretty common for a man, right? Like,
Not really. For
No?
me.
Not for you.
I like to prioritize doing as little as possible.
yeah, you're like the anti-productivity person, but I'm very much into productivity. I like
Yeah.
to create things and like it's like a
And it's not that I'm lazy.
yeah.
I just like doing nothing because historically speaking,
You're very ascetic and monkish.
yes, yeah, there's a part of me that's very, very much like that.
But it's like a woodworker, somebody who like builds benches. They like to go into the shop and make things, like I want something to do to be productive that has benefits for the family.
Right.
Not only for the audience. I mean, that's what this podcast is for me now. And I think it's going to be I know it's going to be a really good thing. It's going to be good for us. I do believe that it's going to bring in money and income because I'm treating this like a business, entertainment business, that's mainly to help us, secondarily to reach listeners and help inspire them, which we already have in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in the comments section. Yeah, so I'm plugging into this. The main reason, I'm just going to be candid with you and the audience right now. The main reason why I started this podcast, can I tell you that?
Yeah.
Above all that,
Yeah.
I don't think I told you this.
Maybe not.
There was one night I was here and Tracy was at work, I think, and there was some texting going on about like you were like, you had not shown up to work or something, and you were like, we could see the signs that you were like drinking a lot and like really not feeling or thinking well. And I could tell it was getting bad. And so in my head, I'm thinking, well, I'm a homebody. I don't go out. I don't know anyone. I'm a hermit. But Daniel is out at Chocolate Tree, the restaurant you work at, and you're meeting people and talking with people. You're social, and the owner of the Chocolate Tree, Jen, and stuff. And I'm thinking in my head here, why doesn't anyone like have an intervention with Daniel and be like, Daniel, don't you think it's a little much now or something? Like I was thinking, why isn't anybody like talking with Daniel? And so I was thinking that for a few minutes, and I came to the realization, because I try and take extreme ownership whatever I can. And so I'm thinking, well, you know what? He is my brother, and no one's probably closer to him than me. Yeah, it's probably on me to like bring it up with him. But I'm thinking, I can't just like text him or call him and say, Daniel, I think you're drinking a bit much. Maybe you should slow down, huh? So I was like, then it just came to me. I was like, start a podcast, call it the Sober Bros, and it'll like transition us from this into recovery and like majesty in addition to helping other people. So why I started this podcast was as an intervention for you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I did that because I love you.
Thank you. And people have spoken up over. I've never hidden it. I've disclosed to people before that. I've been a raging alcoholic. Sometimes more, sometimes less, for many years. But I have like this very sometimes caustic sarcasm or facetious way of being, and I make light of everything. And so I say that
I do too.
I say that to people, like, oh no shit, I'm a total alcoholic, and they'll just laugh
Yeah, I knew that was going on.
because I'm so productive.
Yeah.
And up until very recently, it hasn't really affected my work life.
A lot of the turmoil like that's actually happening within you maybe is not showing up to the outside people around you, because you
because
show
I've
up
kind of-
in like a,
Yeah, I've kept it at bay.
Yeah.
And here's the thing you don't do with an addict. Hey, let me know if there's anything I can do.
Why?
Because I'm not going to, for me, calling somebody in the middle of the night is not going to do anything. You have a problem with alcohol. You're drinking too much. Is there anything I can do?
It seems
Lock
pretty-
me in a room for like 3 weeks?
I tell that to Tracy. I'm like, what would really do me some good is to fly me to some island where they have a recovery center so I can drink coconuts, get massages, and not have any technology and like get enemas and
Yeah.
meditate whatever and swim and be grounded and get sunshine and be away from everybody for like 3 months. Maybe that would help.
Sure. Who the fuck is going to do that?
But it's not a reality. It's just,
Yeah.
So what's gonna do it? It's like the hard work that's just got to be done like the recoverers say, every minute of every hour of every day, one step at a time.
Yeah. A good friend of mine who's probably going to be watching this up in Eugene, Oregon. I won't mention her name, but she's one of my closest friends of all time. And
She, her? Sorry. What was that?
Yeah, this has been a really important person in my life, and she's been sober now for I forget how many years, going on 3-something years, and she's pretty vocal about it on social media. And she's 3 years into it, and she says that it's a struggle still, on a very regular basis.
Yeah, I hear that from people too. Like some of the people I watch online. They've been clean 20 plus years, and like Russell Brand.
Right.
I just watched some interviews with him recently, and he talks about it. He needs faith and a support network for accountability, because otherwise he has nothing.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Frank Ferranti, a good friend of mine from the documentary May I Be Frank, and he was an addict of all kinds of different stuff, and he's been sober for 20-something years, 30 years.
I need to hang out with people like that. We
need to get a hold of Frank and hang out with him. He's a fucking riot.
Yeah,
And,
I've hung out with him once. He's funny.
Yeah, he's a very dear friend of mine, and he still goes to AA, at least once a week.
Seems pretty wholesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one AA meeting I went to,
Was successful.
it definitely wasn't successful. But I thought it was cool because it was actually touching. Like, I was in Austin, Texas, and this guy who's recovered, and he's actually going to be a guest on this show. I've been chatting with him on Instagram. You can always hit us up on Instagram with the DMs. We are accepting guests. So this guy, he's going to be on the show, and I went with him, and it was actually touching to see all these older, kind of ugly, damaged, like older, like rough. They've been through the tumbler, I mean, come on, it shows symmetry and beauty in nature. Like if thing, what? Am I evil? Am I the monster here? Am I the a-hole?
Ugly people.
These ugly people. Hey,
Fucking beautiful people. Like they're doing something wonderful for their lives. They're very beautiful. Maybe like the way that their
you're right.
fucking face looks.
You're right. I'm an asshole. I admit it.
That's true.
I admit it. So anyway, they were sharing their stories, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And they just talk about the fucked up shit that went on in their lives and how they're just trying to live every day better.
Yeah, and that was one of the main reasons why I left AA, actually, because back in 2014, I went for about 6 weeks. A really good friend of mine just texted me on the phone one night. She's like, I really think you need to go to AA. And something about that like pierced into me, and so I started going, and I was sober from day one. You know, it was just like checking myself into a hospital kind of thing, and made that mental decision to stop drinking, and I did for 6 weeks. But I stopped drinking for longer than 6 weeks. I went to AA for 6 weeks, but it was seeing the same people tell the same story night after night after night after night after night, that I was like, okay, this is fucking depressing, and I wish that they would let me smoke in here, because...
You know, that reminds me of a quick quote from a book that I really admire, the War of Art by Stephen Pressfield.
Uh-huh.
In it, he talks about, in this one short chapter, he talks about addiction, addictions of all kinds. And in one part of that short chapter, he says something like, addiction is boring. And that really struck me. He lays it out more in the book, but basically what that means is like the problems that I described earlier and like they do every day, they're problems that become boring for others to hear. It's really boring. And I understand that.
Yeah.
That's why I don't talk about it much. A, because I don't want to be talking about me, but B, because I know it's boring, because it's insane. The same thing over and over. It's stupid. It's boring. So I can see how going to an AA and hearing that again would just kind of be like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, showing up every day and like, hi, my name is whatever, I'm an alcoholic. There is a recovery process to that, but there's, and I read the whole book, and it's an amazing book. I think it should be on the bookshelves of like new age bookstores and stuff. It's like a really profoundly spiritual, amazing book.
Should we recommend it in the show notes on the website?
Hell yeah.
Soberbros.com?
Yeah, Alcoholics Anonymous by Bill, whatever his name is, that founded AA. It's a really incredible, powerful book. I have a copy of it still.
Yeah, I thought about reading it. I never did.
Oh, yeah, I should get you a copy of it. It's really beautiful. It's very loving. It's very, very loving. But I think that how, just like Christianity with like the teachings of Jesus and how it's, nobody's actually doing what Jesus said to do, which was to love one another. He said that like that's the one and only commandment. But most people in AA aren't following through on a lot of the principles that Bill talked about. And so I think that the 12-step program, can be really useful for some people, and for other people, it's like you and me. Like, I don't require structure. Actually, I don't like structure very much at all,
Like your beard is very unstructured.
Right,
It's just going everywhere. Like I take time to manicure and structure.
Right. And I just like to look more and more like Hagrid every day.
But people like it. People like you.
Do they?
Yeah.
People do like me.
Yeah.
It's true. And I love people.
Yeah.
Anyway, I forgot where I was going with the whole AA thing. Oh, yeah, because people were like, I'm an alcoholic. Instead of saying, I am recovered, I am healed, I am better.
Yeah.
And again,
language.
I don't want to like shit talk Alcoholics Anonymous, because it's helped millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people. But do you know that Bill, the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, actually founded Alcoholics Anonymous after doing a couple of different heroic mushroom journeys? Because he actually wanted to put that and make it a part of Alcoholics Anonymous, was psychedelic assisted therapy with acid and with psilocybin. But the people who he was forming it with, they were like, no, we can't do that, because now it's getting like shut down by the federal government. And so I like this approach. One of our future guests, Anna Mancini, a sobriety coach, she did that as well. Like, got on her own journey and went on a path of self-discovery and recovery, and is free from her alcoholism. And she has a lot to share, and she loves what we're doing.
Yeah, I am genuinely inspired, motivated, and just happy to...
You're also buzzed.
Oh, yeah. No, oh, my pupils are dilated, man. No, I'm
so inspired right now.
Dude, I'm feeling literally, like, I'm literally on my second beer.
Yeah.
You're on your, like,
Fourth.
fucking fifth.
And half a bottle of wine.
So, no, I'm very happy to be receiving the feedback that we have in just the first week.
No, I know this has been really amazing for you.
Yeah, because despite popular opinion, I actually do care about other people. He does.
I do. In theory.
It's all very theoretical. No, honestly, like a big part of like if I had like a life mission, which I don't. I definitely don't. I got to get into that in another episode. That is just too good. But I really do want to like help other people. And this podcast is going to be a pathway to do that. And we've already seen the influence we're having over the last 2 weeks. I want to get into some comments and messages from our social media accounts. Okay, so I'm gonna read about 2 or 3 or 4 different comments here because I do want to invite more of you to engage with us on social media. Feel free to leave your comments of your reflections from what we're talking about, what's going on in your life, or hit us up in direct messages because sometimes, as I've seen in the direct messages, like what you're sharing is a little bit too vulnerable for the public.
And you can always say in a direct message, you can always say, feel free to read my comments, my direct messages on your.
And you can also leave
direct
messages and public comments on Spotify on each episode. If you click the episode and just scroll down a little bit, you see like a Q&A area. You can leave your comments. We read them and we can read them on the show if you want. All right, so what do we got here? We're on Instagram, going to one of the reels. I'm so happy I now get to find more creative ways to seduce you.
Well, that was Aloe. No, he was talking to me.
Yeah, we got this friend in Sedona, Aloe. He's hilarious. Thank you, Aloe.
Beautiful homosexual man and always flirting with me.
Yeah, he's very flirtatious. Got another comment here from Rachel. This is such a great concept and execution. I 100% commend you both for you holding yourselves publicly accountable and leading the way for others to move away from addiction to more fully embrace the beauty of life and its challenges. Thank you. Our friend Andrea says, these teasers are great. I'm subscribing. P.S. How many episodes till you try sober? Well, this is episode 3 and we're definitely not sober. I think by 5.
Yeah, by 4 or 5.
But I'll tell you what, we are thinking long range with the vision of this, 1 to 5 to 10 years of doing this show. Like I am taking this show, I don't like to say seriously, but sincerely. I want to be doing this show for many years, and that will be hundreds of episodes reaching millions of people. And all of the guest interviews that we'll have on here with the inspiration and education, like doing the first 4 episodes drunk is documenting the process in the real deal kind of way. And so it's like, with the comment like that, it's like, I see what you're saying, but we got a long range vision.
Yeah.
So by episode 5, you can...
Let's get Russell Brand on the show.
Oh, for sure.
When you post next time, you should like...
Tag him. I'll just start...
Yeah, start tagging him on every fucking post.
I'm going to go over to YouTube. Oh, this is a good one. Megan says, thank you for sharing.
I need to read this one.
That's your friend.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a friend of mine from high school, youth group actually. I think we went to the winter formal. Is that right, Megan? And Megan says, thank you for sharing. We all have our own journey and I appreciate your honesty. And I've also been dependent on cannabis for a long time in waves of use and being sober. Sending you golden, happy vibes. And I really appreciate that because it's not just alcohol, that people can be addicted to, obviously.
Yeah, I got another comment on TikTok that was very similar to that. They're like, been wrestling with cannabis. They got a family and they're trying to do better and they're just having a rough time.
Yeah, you sent me that one.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff on this show. Eating disorders, of a wide variety of mental illnesses, that it could be just like serial shopping, anything you could think of, that people can be addicted to.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, thanks, Megan.
Yeah. There is another comment on the YouTube channel that just came in yesterday that I really want to read, but I'm going to save it for the next episode. It's really intense. It's long and personal. So I'm going to...
Sounds like I need another drink.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to read that one on the next episode, but We just sent out our first newsletter this morning. By the time you're watching this, though, it'll be later. But we are starting a weekly newsletter. We got behind the scenes stuff, recommended reading, inspiration, all kinds of stuff that's going on in the newsletter. We just got started with it. We want you to join the Sober Squad on thesoberbros.com. You can find the link in the description. Sign up for that newsletter and just stay connected with us.
All right. Thanks a lot, David.
All right, man. Thank you.